morning. It's Thursday, October 13th, and it's the Supreme Court again. The Department of Justice is urging the Supreme Court to stay out of the Mar-a-Lago documents fight. Now, I thought this issue had been put to rest, and then we had the special master appointed, and he's supposed to go through all these documents. But the Justice Department is calling the records extraordinarily sensitive. And the Justice Department said the Supreme Court should let stand a federal court's appeals court order that blocked the special master's access over the records while legal challenges played out. The court has emphasized that courts should be cautious before insisting upon examination of records, whose disclosure could jeopardize national security, even by the judge alone, by the special master. Something is liable to leak out, and that's what the Justice Department is afraid of. And Trump's lawyers want the special master assigned to the case to review more than 100 documents that are classified. Now, if that was allowed, that can open the door to Trump's team reviewing the records and arguing that they should be off limits to prosecutors in a criminal case. So I don't understand our justice system when it gets into these nitty-gritty things. But they've already assigned a special master, so why don't they just let it go at that? But no, the Justice Department wants everything to be done a certain way and to keep the Trump team out of the mess that he's in. You might want to make sure that they can put that man away. Now, it may take a couple of days before the full court takes up this matter, and it would take 5 justices to agree to Trump's request. But given the shape of this court and given their decisions, it's quite possible that they would agree with Trump and further screw up the system of justice that runs this country. The Justice Department argument that the appeals court was correct, and they said that the Trump legal team was wrong to argue that the Supreme Court should even consider this case. So why couldn't the Supreme Court just look away? And obviously, Trump shouldn't have had these documents in the first place. So why is the Supreme Court allowing this whole rigmarole to continue? Don't they have better things to do, more important things to do? The man had classified documents in his home that he shouldn't have had. Isn't that enough? Why are we going through this nitty-gritty? Why is this guy's head always coming out somewhere and ruffling the feathers of the United States? And all of this is caused by this judge, Aileen Cannon, who started this whole thing and specified that there could be a special master. And why was this woman even allowed to touch this case when she was a visibly favored Trump? Her decisions were not based on the law. Her decisions were based on her loyalty to the man who appointed her to the courts, Donald J. Trump. Everybody else in these cases has looked away from this. And she stood by him like an acolyte. And she caused a big part in this whole problem by allowing this stuff to get out of her court. She should not have let this thing get this far. This never should have ended up in the court, in the Supreme Court. Clearly the man was guilty of having those documents in his house. Whether they were classified or not, they were the property of the United States government. They belonged in the National Archives right away. So we have a Trump acolyte who's happened to be a judge that he appointed. She should have never let this case get out of hand. She should have rejected it immediately if she was a decent, law-abiding judge. Let me call her a law-abiding judge, because this case did not belong going forward. It's a clear criminal act, and she should have known that, and she should not have used her loyalty to Donald Trump to cause this nation the turmoil that she has caused. Luckily for this country, we had a group of judges on the 11th Circuit Court, the Court of Appeals, that acted on the request of the Justice Department and agreed to freeze portions of the orders that were originally issued by Judge Cannon to freeze those orders so they, the Justice Department, could continue their work. And Trump has argued that he had the legal right as a former president to possess certain government documents. In his twisted mind, he could do no wrong. He could take anything. But that's not the law of the land. And he should not have had any of the country's most sensitive secrets lying around his house. And knowing that this man has no self-control, who knows what he's liable to say to some political adversary or some international thing or some Russian or some Chinese official. Who knows what this man is liable to do to the security of this country? Because he's really not a forward-thinking guy. He considers only one thing, and that's himself. He has never done anything that he didn't consider good for himself and good for those like him.
And even Fox News finally got fed up with him and dumped him.
And so I'm very angry with this whole thing of dragging through the court, wasting the court's time. Can't get to the bottom of it. If the court just stepped up and said, we're not listening to you anymore, let the Justice Department go and do their job. Supreme Court really believe that the Justice Department is not impartial? Do they think that this is an attack on President Trump solely because he was the man he is? I think not. I think the Supreme Court needs to get its head out of its ass and do what it's supposed to do, is take care of the laws of this country without this very, very strict definitions that they look at in the Constitution. The Constitution is a crazy document if it can be misread for centuries. Every time there's a new group of people, things change within the Constitution. Does that sound normal? Not to me. And that's the whole problem that we have here, that we can bring anything we want before the Supreme Court.
And I'll leave you with those crazy thoughts this morning, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.